So you want to hear about 5 mistakes that will absolutely kill a deal. I want to share those, and I want to share a story from 2016. I was working with a seller on the west side of Nashville, and we had gone through the process. She was relocating to another part of Middle Tennessee, and we had gone through the process. She had prepared the home to sell. We had consulted on like what repairs to do, what repairs to who to do them, and all that. We had staged the home. It looked really good. Gone through our, professional photography, videography, marketing, and all that. Went on the market. She and I were really methodical in our pricing. We knew, again, this is 2016. The comparable home sales showed the home was probably worth 315, 320, maybe 325. And we wanted to, at that time, price the home like right in line with the comp. So I think we priced at 319. And so we went on the market, went through our typical process, and ended up getting multiple offers. The first offer we got, I don't remember the exact numbers, but we got 2 offers in. And one of them was around I want to say like 312, 313. The second offer was, I think it was like 317. So these were pretty, I mean, at that time we thought, hey, this is a win. We can negotiate those up, and this is going to work out, and this is really going to be in this is what we wanted to see. Then a third offer came in. The third offer came in at $360,000. I actually I checked. I looked at the tax records this morning just to make sure my memory is correct. And sure enough, it was $360,000 that the third buyer ended up paying. To me, the crazy thing about that is that the third buyer paid $40,000 more than they needed to, because of, in my opinion, they didn't know how to negotiate. Or maybe to say it a different way, unfortunately, their agent didn't know how to negotiate, how to include certain things in the offer, how to ask certain questions that would have revealed a scenario that they could have gotten much closer to list price. Now, kudos to my seller. They got 40,000 extra dollars. Worth noting, this buyer paid cash. So I remember thinking at the time, and even to this day, like, man, so a buyer is sitting there trying to get into like this, unbeknownst to them. I'm sure to this day they don't know the difference. But the wild thing to me is that they paid cash, and for a lot of people at that price point, certainly today, like, man, that's after taxes, that might be close to what you're making in an entire year. And so that's a lot of money, $40,000. And so it just seemed to me like just a very costly mistake. So some of these mistakes to avoid are from situations like that I've learned over the years. So let's jump in. Number one mistake to avoid number one mistake to avoid so that you don't kill a deal is, number one, know the market. Know the market. So, I mean, generally know the market, and specifically know the market. Generally, here in Nashville, are we in a buyer's market or a seller's market? That's going to change over time. Cycles go up and down. Sometimes we're in a buyer's market, sometimes we're in a seller's market. But it's important to know, generally speaking, does the market advantage, is there an advantage for buyers or sellers in the current market? Secondly, know it specifically, meaning if you are offering on 123 Main Street, what do the comparable home sales say the home is worth? So if I'm having conversations and I feel like the home is overpriced or they're not really negotiable, it's one thing to just have just to have a general dialogue about the value. But if you don't understand the market specifically, it's hard to influence others just because you want the price to be less. That doesn't make any sense. So know the market specifically. Know what the comps say the home is worth, at least have like a tight range, and have really solid reasoning in terms of what the comparable home sales say the home is worth. So number one, know the market. Number two mistake, that will kill a deal that you want to avoid is know your strengths. So, what do I mean by that? Know what you can offer. Um, and so a lot of people may think in terms of price. A home is listed at, 700,000 and the only thing to negotiate is price. It's not. There's a lot of terms that could be negotiated, and depending on the seller situation, they're going to value those things differently. I also find that over the years, not everybody thinks about these different things. And so not only is it a mistake to avoid, but it's also a way to differentiate yourself when you are thinking about things other than price. Um, flexible close date. It could be flexible possession. It could be asking the right questions and getting a sense of what other things other than price are important to them. Um, Again, there's other things other than price. So that would be the second mistake to avoid that could kill a deal is if you don't understand your strengths and you negotiate strictly on price. You may have, three or four other sort of terms that you can negotiate to get the price down and get a better deal. Third mistake to avoid that can kill a deal is be willing to walk away. Um, what I mean by that is, would you, um, this difference, if I identify 123 Main Street, the difference in do you want the house or must you have the house? And if you must have the house, that's okay. It's just you're coming from a different position than you are as if you say, man, I really want this house. It meets, checks all the boxes. I'd really like to be there. And then finding yourself, if you can, getting in a mental state of, and I can let it go if I need to. That's going to give you a better position to think clearly about things, not get emotionally tied up and end up making maybe a rash decision or making a quick response out of fear that's going to cause you to pay a lot more potentially than you need to. So that would be the third mistake that can kill a deal that you want to avoid. Be willing to walk away. The fourth thing is be reasonable. So what do I mean by that? I will have people occasionally that want to offer on a home in a seller's market, um, and the home may be listed, let's just say, at $675,000. It is a seller's market, so they're probably going to have multiple offers, tons of activity on the house. And what do they want to do? They want to make a lowball offer. That is a waste of time. Um, should you never make a lowball offer? No, that's not what I'm saying. There are certainly times where you want to make, a lowball offer, and what is low is gonna, that's, opinion. Um, but generally speaking, like if you're not reasonable, you're wasting your own time, and it's just a waste of sort of time and stress and emotion. So know the market. Now, if it's a buyer's market, going back to that first point of knowing the market, if it's a buyer's market and it's overpriced and comps say it's worth, $75,000 less than what it's listed for, then the seller may be the one that's unreasonable and they are making a mistake because obviously it's on the market, which means they have some kind of plan to move. That would be a big mistake for them if you're flipping the market and flipping the scenario. But that's a mistake to avoid. Be reasonable. So, for example, if there's high demand, um, there's just not a good reason to consider a low offer when they're going to have two other offers that are, close to or at list price. So that is the fourth mistake to avoid that can kill a deal. The fifth thing is keep your emotions in check. And I've touched on this a little bit, but generally towards the home. And what I mean by this point is specifically in conversations. And some of these tips are for your agent, and some of these tips are for you as a buyer, but it's a partnership in this. So um, the fifth thing really matters, and that is the keep your emotions in check generally towards the home, but specifically in conversations. So we could probably do a short video on like breathing techniques and box breathing. Because the truth is, when you make an offer, I understand that when you're offering on something, it can be a very emotional thing. If I offer on something, I'm not doing it because I don't care. I'm doing it because there are reasons that I want it. I can be very naturally excitable. And so I have to be very aware of this mistake for me to avoid. This would be an easy mistake for me to avoid. Aware of that, I work to overcome that by thinking ahead, planning ahead, breathing, and that sort of thing. Not getting overly excited in the conversation, but instead staying calm, thinking clearly, not making quick, rash decisions. Um, there should be a sixth point on here, and that sixth mistake as a bonus would be not asking good questions. To me, this goes hand in hand with the emotions. When your emotions are in check and we're calm and clear, we're asking really good questions that give us the kind of insight, and I would venture to say insight that leads to sort of a calm wisdom that says, okay, I can discern, I can sort of play this out a little more, give this negotiation like some breathing room, or I can discern now is the time I need to wrap this up. So that would be my fifth mistake to avoid that will kill a deal. The last thing to say is that all of these for me highlight how important it is for you to work with an agent that you trust. Like, you have no idea what conversations sound like when your agent is negotiating on your behalf. And back to the original story that I shared, those folks have no idea what their representative was, how they were negotiating on their behalf, and the fact that they, in my opinion, completely threw away $40,000 of cash. So the trust is important, not just in competency, but also in looking out for your best interest. I think this is the number one thing. If I personally am working with somebody that I don't believe is working on my behalf, like they can't, if I feel like they need the deal more than me, that's not that's not good. I want them to want it as much as me from a standpoint of wanting to help me get something and they're of service. But this trust is really important. And so, again, there's a lot we could say about that, but make sure you're working with somebody that you trust. I tell people that, talk with us. If at any point you don't trust us for some reason, you should go find somebody else. Like, that's just the bottom line. So, um, yeah. I hope this has been helpful. We've gone over 5 mistakes that will kill a deal, and plus a bonus one. If this has been helpful, please like it. It helps other people find the content that could be useful to them as well. If you have any comments or questions or other content you'd like to see on here, please comment below. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this, and we'll see you on the next video.